Awesome. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to use your fireplace. Super important to follow these steps in order to make sure you can have an enjoyable experience. Today we are starting up with this beautiful Napoleon wood stove. So this wood stove here has amazing features and it's quite clean burning compared to just the traditional fireplace. First step you're going to do before starting any fire inside of your house, you want to make sure that you keep the window open. Reason being is because in the winter you have a lot of negative air pressure that may or may not pull air down the chimney. So you want to make sure you alleviate the air pressure by opening that window, especially if your furnace and hot water tank are drawing air out of the house. So now that your window is open, you're ready to start up your fire. Now it's really important that if you are using kindling, if you're using traditional wood, you want to be making yourself a nice little log hut. You're going to take 2 logs and place them one way. You're going to cross and do this same thing the other way. And you're going to follow this about 4 or 5 layers. So we've built our nice little log cabin here. Now the next step you're going to do is really, really important. What you're going to be doing here is you're going to take some newspaper like so. You're going to roll them up into these nice long strips and you're going to make a knot. Now I typically suggest to do about 7 of these and you're going to place them in the bottom of your little cabin. Okay, so you can see here that we got our newspaper, we got our wood piled up, and we're ready to start it up. We got our lighter here, we've got our wood stacked up properly, and we're ready to go. So we're going to start by lighting it at the very bottom. You can light it from different directions. Now once you kind of get it slowly starting to ignite, I like to keep the door about 1/2 inch open, just a couple fingers width. And that kind of allows to get a nice stream of air going into the chimney and get it stoked up. So it takes a little while to kind of get it started, but you really have to be patient with it. Make sure you're using the right type of kindling, nice dry hardwood, or if you have softwood kindling, that's okay as well. But you want to make sure that you have a healthy amount of kindling to make sure that your fire is going and you're getting as much heat up the chimney right off the bat. Once you have the kindling set, you're ready to throw on a log. So you want to make sure that your wood is properly seasoned. Now your wood should be somewhere between 15–20% or below. If your wood is too dry, you may get a chimney fire. Now why is that? Because the flames can get a little bit too high on the logs and that could lick the chimney if there's any creosote buildup. So you want to make sure your wood is properly seasoned. If your wood is too wet, you're going to end up with very smoky fires, which means that it's also not reaching the ideal burning temperature. When that happens, instead of the smoke traveling up the chimney at a high rate, it's traveling very slow, and that creates more carbon buildup. So we've got our little log cabin here fully ignited. We're ready to throw in a log. So we're just going to place it gently. Okay, so we threw in the log about 30 seconds ago. You can see it's starting to ignite pretty nice here. We're going to be closing it up. Okay, now at the very top here, you have a little handle, which is your air intake. In this case, I do believe that when you keep it in one direction, it is either going to be closed, and you can see there, the smoke almost died, right? The fire nearly died there. So if I close this, again, you're choking out the fire. You want to make sure to keep it open, at least for the first probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the fire until your log is fully ignited. And then you can slowly close it down as needed. It's important to get a hot fire right off the bat. And again, you don't want to choke out the fire, but if you ever do need to put it out before bed or something like that, you can close it all the way or close it halfway, slowly ease it off. Now regarding your window, so once you see that you have an established fire, you're ready to close the window and you're good to go. So it's really important for the first 2 minutes before the fire and probably for the first 5 minutes of the fire just to make sure you have enough air supply. Now if you find that when you close the window after a few minutes you notice it gets really, really smoky and foggy inside of the fireplace, then you know there is a lack of oxygen, so you may have to keep the window open a little bit longer. So you have to kind of play it by ear. Every house has, different level of how airtight it might be or how much oxygen, how many air leaks you have essentially. So it's always really important to also have a CO detector within the same room as the fireplace for the reason because we're giving you guys free value, free information. All you can do is just like, subscribe, and you will be helping out our family business.